Alright, welcome back everyone. So for tonight's show, this is going to be a little different. I mean, it's usual, but a little different. I know I've been doing a lot of these types of shows lately, but we're going to be doing more or less kind of like how I initially started. So back when my, apparently my mic wasn't actually on. Sad times, but we're going to get back to that, how I was doing it before. Obviously I can see the mic is on now, so you guys can hear me. Fantastic. So, basically what we're going over tonight is something I've been actually leading up to for months. I told you guys before what I was looking into. If you guys have been following the Gray Stage podcast, going on Greg Fernandez's YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe. I highly suggest it. He's got some good content he's pushing out. Things like this. You've been following these different groups, especially with David Crowley, especially with Murder of the Gray State. I've been mentioning this very, very often. Not necessarily every episode or anything, or every podcast, things like this. But the reason I've been looking into David Crowley is because of all these other conspiracy theorists and truth tellers that we've been seeing going missing, mysteriously dying, being killed off, random circumstances, things just basically they're being wiped out. But why? And I did stumble upon this a while ago, but I've been basically trying to compile as much about this as I can, especially with some of these newer cases, especially with John McAfee and John Lang, adding those two to the puzzle as well. So why are these guys dying? Right? It's the question I want you guys to kind of really be thinking about, especially for tonight's episode. We're going to be going for about 2 hours, so go until about 12:15 or so. Could get over sooner, but I'm going to leave a little time there for questions. So, we're going to get right into it. So we're going to lead off with, who is William Cooper? Well, as you can see right here, this is what he is being deemed as. Now, just really keep this in mind. People are really trying to throw him on the QAnon type of thing. Well, keep in mind, QAnon's not a thing, right? QAnon has never been a thing. This is something the government and all these other things have been pushing. It's not. Q is a person. There's somebody that's, anonymously posting as Q. But QAnon itself has been carried over. They're trying to say this is the person, this is who it is. QAnon. It's not. It's Q. Right? And we don't even know if it's one person or multiple. I've got theories. I do have somebody in mind. I do believe it possibly could be if it is one person. If not, I do have a group of people. Not necessarily names at that point, but I do have figures. Put it that way. But when it comes into this, if you guys are not familiar with Milton William Cooper, also known as Bill Cooper, he is, or was, somebody who is blowing the whistle on everything. Not because he was necessarily an insider, but because he had done the research himself, he had obtained information somehow, either through working or some kind of a contact or putting pieces together, things like this. Just like many of us, right? But he put together this entire puzzle and was actually, from 1988 on, was able to predict things, certain events. Allegedly, there was one where he predicted the fall of the Berlin Wall, like the date when everything was supposed to have happened. I haven't gone all the way through his book yet. I'm still delving. I've been kind of going piece by piece. So I don't have any exact page number on Mon. I've just been kind of looking for keywords, essentially. So, but I am planning on actually reading it front to back. There's like over 500 pages of it. So, once again, highly suggested if you guys haven't read it already, or if you have, please fill me in on what other details I do miss out on. But tonight is going to be one of those shows where we're delving as deep as we can, but also we have quite a few different figures we have to go and connect, and I have to show exactly how they're connected. But just this alone, he named all sorts of things as these things were going to happen. Just literally just bam, 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 just started naming things off. This is what's going to come. This is what's coming. This is coming. This is coming. This is a guy who knew way too much, right? For the government to really allow him to say, no, I don't recall him ever using the simple line that I like to use all the time that I also got from David Crowley. But I'm not suicidal. I'm not homicidal towards my family or friends. I have no desire to kill anybody, right? And nor do they have any desire to do so towards me, or to me, or themselves, yada, yada, yada. So basically what I'm saying here is my family won't kill me, I won't kill them. My friends don't want to kill me, and I don't want to kill them. None of my family does. None of my friends. I don't have any enemies like that as far as I know. So, if anything does happen to me, once again, please investigate. And I will continually say this almost every single show. As you guys know, I say this pretty frequently, especially as of late, because we've been touching on some really touchy subjects that, well, they have gotten people killed. Okay? So those are some things to kind of pay attention to. Oops. TikTok. Also, I do apologize for TikTok being my videos not being posted up yet. I don't have a mic for it, so I'm actually going to have to record the audio separately or something. I don't know how I'm going to do it exactly, but it's not syncing up. Allegedly, the headphones I have, these Apple headphones, apparently have a mic in them. That's what I've read. They don't, I don't think, because I try to record, it doesn't work. So, just to touch on that, so why you guys haven't seen any of the David Crowley videos popping up yet, this is why. I'm trying to get this all worked out, so I might have to go and buy one of those little microphones if I have to get those out to you guys, so you guys can hear exactly what I have to say with proof. If I don't have proof on something, once again, they're little breadcrumbs, so you guys can follow along and figure things out yourself. So, this is a guy right here, like I said, he never said these things, really, right? Basically, he was just like, look, I got this information. I know my life is at risk. Just for knowing this and me spreading this, because I'm spreading it, I am a danger to them, and they are afraid. Well, it's not that they're afraid, right? I've looked into this pretty deeply. They're not afraid. They want us to know what their plan is, but they don't want us to really rally people to rise up against them. That's what they want. That's what they don't want. They don't care if we know. In fact, that's part of their plan. They want us to know. They want to see how sheepish the general population is, how they're just if they're just gonna follow along or just gonna brush things off and okay, just gonna go day to day, ha ha ha, Well, most of the population is quite sheepish, right? And this isn't meant to be a diss towards anybody, any kind of a disrespect or anything like this. This is meant to kind of wake you up. When I'm saying this, I keep this in mind. I don't hate any people that aren't awake, right? I'm not saying woke. I mean like actually awake. Have done their due diligence, have done the research, have looked at this. I don't hate anybody. Not really, no. I have some dislike and I won't respect some people. And it's not like groups of people per se, it's specific people. And there's reasons behind it and all this, but some of them will know who they are because they listen to what I have to say. Because I might be an enemy to them just because of what I know, what I've uncovered and all this and what I've been sharing. But nothing will happen. This isn't me being cocky. They know the minute I start saying investigate my death if I do die. That's kind of code for don't touch me, or I've got some stuff here. And people will look at this, and this will be high profile. And I'm not saying I'm that important, but once again, I would highly suggest this for anybody. You look into things, get information, spread it around, get it to people. Have dead man switches if you can. I got a few. Something happens, things will be sent out. Most people know who they are. They know. They'll know as it happens. So, if I have a feeling like something's going to happen, once again, these people will know. And those people have people they're supposed to also get in contact with as well. And once again, yada, yada, yada. And there's different ways. I've also got this set up. So I know it sounds really, really silly and all this, but once again, this is just so I can get the information out. I want to make sure this is investigated. I want to make sure these people can't get in the way. We want to expose these people, right? We want to expose them for who they are. But that's what Bill Cooper here was doing, right? He's trying to expose these things. But why? Well, because it's evil what's going on. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Human trafficking. Would you consider that evil? I know I would. Would you consider Hostile PC. I'm not following. What is exclamation point in PC? I don't know what that is. But thanks for joining the chat. I totally appreciate it. If you have questions to it, anybody that has any questions, please put them in the chat box. I will get to them as soon as I see them. Assuming they're not just, out of disrespect or anything. That's the only thing I'm not going to really respond to. But the thing is, like I said, when looking at this stuff, you really got to go and wonder how much of it is true. Are these people actually conducting these, I don't want to say satanic, but like these really, really obscene rituals? Are people being abducted? Are people being hunted because the elite want to hunt them? Whatever their motives are. Is there any one good party out there? No. There's not a single good party out there. When it comes to for politics, there's not a single one. And that's the other thing you also want to pay attention to. Notice where these guys line up. Was Bill Cooper a Republican? No. Was he a Democrat? No. If anything, I think he would be declared himself as a libertarian. I think a little more right-leaning. I think he was a little more conservative on things. But he was definitely not a Democrat or Republican. He might have registered at one point, maybe. It's possible. I don't know. I haven't looked into his registration yet. I do say that as yet. But I knew you're going to start to find some things here that they don't come off like a typical quote-unquote, with the stereotypical Republican or Democrat, or any party for that matter. They don't come off as stereotypical. And that's one thing I want you to go and really focus in on here, because these articles, you're going to see some of them, they're going to really try and, they're going to show this. They're going to showcase it a little bit, and you're going to see. And it's a little disturbing. But we're going to start with this one right here. Let me see if I can find it exactly where it said it. Where was it? Here it is. This is the line right here. I want to pay very, very close attention to. So, I'm just going to read it verbatim so you guys see what I'm talking about. We're going to go over it as things come up. All right. So, they state, this wasn't because Bill Cooper, and once again, this is talking about his, he collected clocks. Essentially is what it's getting to, and he had a different kind of view on time, kind of, I guess. I haven't read the whole thing right up here, but all I know is just don't pay attention to this part. This doesn't matter, but they're a voracious reader, a self-schooled savant, was anti-science or anti-intellectual. He believed in evolution, and like his philosophical hero Aristotle, Cooper treasured the supremacy of knowledge and his acquisition. All right? Okay. Voracious reader, okay, read a lot. Self-schooled savant, okay, he schooled himself on everything he needed to do, okay. Was he anti-science or anti-intellectual? No, obviously he wasn't. No. Voracious readers, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of them are pretty pro-intellectual, right? I'd even argue that some of them are, if not most of them, are pretty pro-science. But once again, it's pro-science, not, pro-belief, right? Like what we're kind of dealing with right now with mainstream. Just believe this. This is science, even though there's plenty of scientists and doctors, things like this coming out against certain things. Right? But he believed in evolution. Okay. Now, when you believe in evolution, does that mean you're not a Christian? No. We can see evolution in some things, right? We can definitely see this. We can trace it back. Does it mean we don't believe in evolution? No. We can see bacteria evolve. We can see animals evolve. We can see evolution. We can see what Darwin was talking about to some degree. We can see some of these things, that they are true. To a certain point, they are very, very true. But once again, science is all about what? Theory. The hypothesis. I mean, all this stuff. Once again, things can be altered at any given time just because a little bit of information can now change that, right? So science isn't perfect, right? It's an imperfect thing. As we learn more, we build on it, right? So, did he believe in that? Yes, absolutely. And like his philosophical hero Aristotle, look at some of Aristotle's works, right? I mean, they even try to go and push it in this way of he treasured supremacy of knowledge and his acquisition. So this guy was all about let's learn as much as we can about everything we can, about anything we can. That's going to lead the way to a better future, right? That's what Cooper and Aristotle firmly believed. He had a massive collection of jazz records. Okay, well, that's already shown. Generally, once again, doesn't mean once again, we're trying to go and really see what this guy's like. What are Republicans generally viewed as? Those bigots, those racists, those sexists. No, incorrect. That's a specific picture they're trying to paint. They're trying to paint this as this is the Confederates. They're the Confederacy. Have you guys done any research by chance on the Democrat Party? Where they got started? The group that supported them and got them really pushed forward? You guys don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the KKK. They're the ones that they started in the Deep South. Now, does that mean Southerners are inherently democratic and racist and all this? No. There's plenty of Democrats out there not even racist at all. Don't have a racist bone in their body. But they believe what's being told to them, though. The politics behind it. A lot of them, they just believe it. Not all of them. And it's the same thing with Republicans. Same thing. That's what I'm saying. There's no party here, so I want to make that very clear here. He liked jazz, right? I'm not saying because he liked jazz he can be racist. That's not saying that at all. But we're seeing some things once again. Generally, you're kind of like, okay, well, why jazz? Maybe this means nothing. Maybe it doesn't. Okay, and maybe I'm looking into it a little too deep. But once again, I'm trying to go and just show these are typical things you'll see. The stereotype. He doesn't meet it. He's pulling away from it pretty hard. Somewhere along the way, dating at least back to his service as riverboat captain in a hot zone during the Vietnam War. Okay, so he had military service. Cooper came to believe that something wasn't right. Well, obviously, Vietnam War was fought on a lie. And once again, do your due diligence. You can look this up with it's Library of Congress. I believe they have the information on it, so you can go look through that. You'll have to dig a little bit. I could look it up on stream, but that'll take me a little bit to get to it. But I know I've found it on there myself. You can look at the CIA.gov. I believe the FBI's got archives about it as well. So once again, there's plenty of places you can look at, right? So do your due diligence there. All right. What he'd always accepted as truth, what he was willing to give his life to protect, wasn't true at all. Well, now that's talking about this Vietnam War. This got him waking up, right? It was part of a vast web of lies that stretched back through the centuries, contrived to rob the common man of his unalienable right to know the reality of his place on the planet. It was a deep-seated conviction that became an obsession, and a potent bridge to the current environment, where no one seems to believe anything they're told, where long-respected bastions of truth are thought to be so corrupt as to be what Donald Trump calls the quote-unquote enemy of the people. So, this is where they're tying in. You see this. Keep in mind, this is dated back in 2018. All right? Is Donald Trump wrong about all this? No. Is he a perfect president? No. There's no such thing as perfection when it comes to people, ideology, or anything like this. There's no perfection. This was a good president we had. Like I said, you can look at his track record if you don't believe me, but end of the day, that's what it comes down to. He was trying to expose this stuff. Who else was trying to expose this stuff? JFK. Reagan did for a time. We had some others. We had some that conspired. You had Roosevelt. And when I say Roosevelt, I don't mean Teddy Roosevelt. No. That man is an American. Sorry, I just say that. You hear Teddy Roosevelt, you're like, yeah, that guy's absolute badass right there. But it's true. That's not even an opinion. That's fact right there. That man was a badass. But like I said, look at his history. He's pretty phenomenal. But I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Awful, awful president. Some people regard him as one of the best. Guy went for, I believe, 3 terms. That's kind of sketch. Every other president before him, 2 terms. 1 to 2 terms. But then we got Eisenhower. We got Hoover. Terrible, terrible presidents. Why do you think we had the Hoovervilles? You had the Depression, that was in the Depression. Okay. Roosevelt came after. Eisenhower came after him. Eisenhower's a warmonger. He was a general in the military. But he clearly knew he messed up by saying, yeah, basically watch out for the military-industrial complex. I screwed up, guys. I gave him the reins. And then we get to see all these wars starting to unfold right after that. Why is that? Well, it's because he handed them the damn reins. He's like, all right, well, I guess we're going to war with everybody. Anybody that doesn't sign up with Team America here, right? Anybody that doesn't sign up with the Rothschilds. That's what's going on. All right. We'll continue, though. The idea of fake news, along with personages like Alex Jones and QAnon, notably influenced by Cooper, are not unprecedented in American life. But none of them would have manifested as they have without Bill Cooper as an immediate predecessor. Well, that's BS. A, no such thing as QAnon. It's Q, right? And no, Q would have still been coming around, whether he did or not. Alex Jones, I'm not 100% sure about that guy, but I do know that he speaks truth a lot. Like I said, you want to go off with some clips. A lot of people like to go off on Alex Jones about this too. He's making the damn frogs gay, right? There's studies proven. I'm not going to get into it. You can do the research yourself, but certain chemicals do certain things in water, which can affect the wildlife in said water. Do the research, just like he talked about chimeras, talked about the MIT papers. Do the research, you can find them. All right, I'll show you that one. That's a lot easier to do. Here's from 2016. Well, that's a chimera program. Technically speaking, it is. That's chimera. What do we do with lab rats? Grow ears on them? Human ears? And why? So we can replace, if somebody loses an appendage, they lose an ear, a nose. That's exactly why. So that shows it. I'm 100% showing you guys this. So is Alex Jones lying now? No. Mm-mm. But I'm still not 100% sure that he's all that he says he is. I'm still looking into him. But he speaks a lot of truth, and I have respect for him for that. Is this him doing it on his own, or is this him being told by others to do it? I don't know. I can't tell you, because I don't know. But I can tell you I can find the stuff. So if I can find the stuff, then that says something. Would he exist without Bill Cooper? Him, I don't know. It's a possibility he never would have come out. But what we want to note from this guy here, what he wrote was this book called Behold a Pale Horse. If you guys are not familiar with what that means, it's a biblical phrase, right? Let me see if I can pull it up on his book here. Yeah, it's from the Holy Bible, the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. That's where this comes from. But it has power behind it. If you think about what does it mean? Well, he's talking about mass death, genocide, things like this, through multiple different means, whether it be war, through starvation, through famine. Could be a number of things, right? Disease. That's what he's talking about here. Like I said, I just kind of been going through keyword by keyword, finding things. I'm planning on getting the whole thing downloaded here pretty soon. But for you guys, just to kind of see how this went, I got a hold of his autopsy report right here. Okay, we're gonna go through it. Don't worry, this one we are gonna go through a little more extensively. We're gonna kind of skim over. We've already gone over extensively on David, so I'm gonna kind of just go over it real quick. You guys see what I'm talking about? That'll be where we end, so you guys can see how everybody's connected. This is the one I want you guys. This is the beginning And it's not even really the beginning. People were dying long before him. Long before him. Scientists. Doctors. Whistleblowers. Military officials. Soldiers. Regular people. Journalists. They were going missing, dying. I'm still trying to connect all the dots there. But those are harder to connect because, well, a lot of them, a lot easier to go and get them silenced and censored, right? Not so easy with guys like Bill Cooper. When he came out hard. He waited. He bided his time. He came out at the right time when he knew his voice to be heard loudest. And it was. Would have been perfect to come out during like the mid-70s, late 70s, early 80s. No. He'd wait. And he built up all this knowledge and all this information, collected all this. Came out this time. Now, he was killed in 2001. So you can see right here. That's when they did the autopsy. So, this is what we got here. So, pathologic diagnoses. Penetrating 4 and perforating 1 gunshot wounds to the torso with... scared me. Oh, thank you. Totally appreciate the subscription. Thank you, Mary. Let's see, is everybody in chat right now? Oh. So we got a marked chest wall, soft tissue hemorrhage. All right. Perforation of ribs. Ouch. Perforation of heart. So he was shot in the heart, shot in the ribs. Bilateral hemorrhothoraces. Perforation of left hemidiaphragm. Okay. 4 bullets recovered. So those are 4 shots. Bam, 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 and probably this is tied in with these ones right here. He's got 4, right? Penetrating gunshot wound to the head. Stifling. Skull fracture. So this definitely went in and out. C1 to C2 transverse processes, defects, basilar subarachnoid hemorrhage. That basically just means it comes out like a web. Probable perforation of right vertebral artery. 1 bullet recovered. So you got 5 gunshot wounds. Damn. So it's saying right here so far. Penetrating gunshot wound to right lower extremity with no underlying vital injuries. 1 bullet recovered. It's the 5th shot. No. No underlying vital injuries, 1 bullet recovered. Perforating gunshot wounds to right upper extremity. No underlying vital injury, no bullets recovered. That's weird. Okay. Then we got fatty liver, minimal left anterior descending coronary artery, atherosclerosis, hypertrophy of heart, hypertrophy of prostate, left below-knee amputation. See, he had a prosthetic. Hypopigmented patches at anterior thighs consistent with old skin graft sites. So basically he had scars and skin grafts. So basically you get the skin taken off one area and put to another. Opinion: death of this man is due to gunshot wounds to the torso with perforations of the heart. Right, but the headshot? Okay. Gunshot wound to the head with skull fracture is contributory. The manner of death is certified as a homicide. Ooh, look at that. Means he didn't kill himself. That's all that means here. Doesn't mean somebody came into his home and just shot him in the head and he didn't have a chance. No. We'll get into that in just a second. There's more. But they're saying died from the gunshot to the heart, which most likely means got shot in the heart first and was probably bleeding out and probably like got shot in the head on the way down or something like this. So you can already see there's a bit of a gunfight here. So they got photographs, 35 millimeters, fingerprints and palm prints are made of the deceased. X-rays of the entire body are made and retained. I'm not going to even warn you guys because we don't have the photos, so just throwing that out there. All right, so here's the examination we're going to go over real quick. So we had, let's see, assisting the examination are Bill Ferguson, Gene Hernandez, and Abel Valentino. General description: the decedent is received within a sealed plastic or black plastic body bag. Within the bag is a folded blue body bag and an additional white body bag containing the deceased. The head and hands are bagged. External examination. The body is of a light-skinned, well-developed, well-nourished. That means he was eating well. He was in decent shape. He was developed, fully developed. 6'2", 247-pound man. Man, I weigh about 100 pounds more than him, and 2.5 inches taller than him. Holy crap! Whose appearance is consistent with the reported age of 58 years. The hair is thick, gray, and 2 to 4 inches. With frontal and crown balding. So he was balding in the front a little bit. So he basically had this little middle part here, bald in the back. There is stubble at the mustache and beard. The nose and ears are well formed, which means he had shaved probably recently that week, probably within a few days at least. The irides are green, and conjunctivae are I can't say this word in the sex. Anicteric, without pectiae or hemorrhage. The oral cavity is atraumatic, so nothing really in his mouth. It contains natural teeth and good repair. The torso and extremities are well developed and remarkable for a half-inch hypopigmented, well-healed scar at the upper right back, just right of midline. Several rectangular hypopigmented areas of the anterior thighs. So consistent with old skin graft sites. A 5-inch hypopigmented, well-healed scar at the medial aspect of the left knee, and a well-healed left below the knee amputation. The genitalia are of an unremarkable adult male. All right. So basically, nothing was wrong there either. So, but you can see that he definitely had some wounds he had to recover from, and they were already well recovered from. So. Rigor mortis is strong throughout. Livor mortis is non-fixed and posterior. The body is cool, so he's already cool all the way down. Clothing and belongings. Okay, on or accompanying the deceased are 1 pair of brown blue boots, 1 pair of white socks, 1 black belt with brown holster at right side, 1 yellow tan sock covering left below knee amputation stump, 1 black comb, 1 white metal pocket knife with gray handle, 2 sets of keys. Plaid shirts, bloodstained, a blue jacket, bloodstained, blue gloves in left pocket of above-mentioned blue jacket, and prosthetic leg. Does this sound like a man who is trying to set up a gunfight with these guys? Absolutely not. There are multiple defects in the anterior aspect of the plaid shirt corresponding to the gunshot wounds described below. Additionally, there are a few defects to the anterior aspect of the aforementioned blue jacket corresponding to the gunshot wounds described below. Like I said, does this sound like a guy that was trying to go and get into a gunfight with these guys? I think the answer's pretty blatant. Not really. Because if you're looking to go and get into a gunfight with some cops, right? Are you going to go and have just a handgun? No. If you're gonna get into a gunfight with these guys, you'd be looking at having some you're going to want to have specific types of rounds, full metal jacket or armor penetrating, arm piercing, however you want to go and go with it. And you're probably going to have a rifle or 2. You're probably going to have things like shotguns, grenades. Cops are essentially just they're a few steps below the military. When it comes to training, if you compare a SWAT team or just regular cops, compare them to a SWAT team. They're mostly pretty comparable, and the SWAT team is going to be a little more geared towards getting into action, right? While the regular cops are just there for, okay, we get into a shootout, okay, well, we know how to shoot, we're trained, but they're not going to be necessarily the military, no. Okay, but yeah, you're going to need some stuff, right? Is it possible to go and beat cops with just a handgun? It's a possibility, I'm sure, but I don't think he was really even up to it. I don't think he wanted to. He carried a gun for protection, and that's basically what this shows here. All right, so injuries, external, internal. There are 6 penetrating and 3 perforating gunshot wounds to the head, torso, and extremities. There are blunt impact injuries to the head and extremities. Why are there blunt impact? These injuries are listed for descriptive purposes only. No sequence is implied. All right, so got some blunt impacts to the head and extremities. But then there's 6 gunshot penetrating and 3 perforating. Something doesn't add up here. Why are there blunt impact? This is the part that doesn't make any sense. I've already looked at this, so I'm just going over this. Just for a little entertainment value, I suppose, on that one. It doesn't make any sense. It's just very, very similar to the Crowley case. You see some things that don't add up. Why was this done? Why was this here? Why was this done? Doesn't make any sense. Keep in mind, he lived by himself with his dog. Okay? So obviously he couldn't do anything himself. He was perfectly safe. So he thought. But the cops showed up and they took care of him. Messed up. Alright, so let's start off with gunshot wound to torso number 1. So this is their upper left chest cavity. A gunshot entrance wound to the upper left chest is 13 inches from the top of the head and 2.5 inches left of midline. It is an oval perforation measuring 7/8 inch in greatest length with an inferomedial quarter-inch rim of abrasion and negligible rim of abrasion at the remaining margins. There is no fouling or stipling. I'm not familiar with the term fouling. Let's look that up. I'm curious. What is fouling? Okay. After penetrating the skin and soft tissues of the anterior chest, the bullet passed into the posterior soft tissues of the upper left arm. There is marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. There are no underlying vital injuries. The bullet lodged in the left triceps muscle, 6 inches from the top of the shoulder. The bullet is of medium caliber, yellow metal jacketed, and markedly deformed at its nose. F is now inscribed on its base. The bullet is retained as evidence. Curious. That's curious. F is now inscribed on its base. Okay. The direction of this bullet traveled is front to back, right to left, and slightly downward. So the comment here is, for bullet to have this path, the left upper extremity must have been raised. Right, so he had raised his arm and they shot him. That's what they're saying here. All right, so we're going to talk about gunshot wound number 2 in the torso. It's the left anterior chest. A gunshot entrance wound is at the left chest, slightly above and to the right of the left nipple. So left nipple is to the right of the left nipple. So yeah, that's his heart shot right here. 17 inches from the top of the head and 4.5 inches left of midline. It is an oval perforation measuring a 1/2 inch with an inframedial quarter-inch rim of abrasion. And a negligible rim of abrasion at the remaining margin. No fouling or stifling. So basically, what this comes down to, this wasn't a close-range shot. All these things mean are here. That's why they put them there. It's not close range. Really trying to go and just really gut it in there that this gets some range. It's outside of that range of fouling and stifling. Penetrating the skin and soft tissues of the left chest, the bullet passed upward and leftward through the soft tissues of the left chest and shoulder. There is marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. A gunshot exit wound is at the outer aspect of the left upper extremity, 1 inch from the top of the shoulder. It is an irregular 1/2 inch U-shaped defect with a negligible rim of abrasion. On the small flap of tissue at its center is a 1/4 inch red abrasion. There's no fouling or stifling. Once again, they really have to get that in there, don't they? No bullets recovered. Okay, that means that got somewhere into the home, right? It's the crime scene. The direction of this bullet traveled is right to left, front to back, and upward. Gunshot wound number 3 to the torso, so right lateral chest. The gunshot wound is slightly above and to the right of the right nipple. 15 to 3/4 inch from the top of the head and 7.5 inches right of midline. It is a 3/4 inch oval perforation with a lateral 1/4 inch rim of abrasion, negligible rim of abrasion at the remaining margins. There's no fouling or stifling. Once again, not long range. or not short range. After penetrating the skin and soft tissues to the anterior right chest, the bullet passed through the interior right chest wall, leaving an approximately 3-inch defect at the anterior 4th through 6th ribs. So the injury contributed by gunshot wound number 4. So that basically just came in the same area roughly. The bullet then passed into the pericardial sac, perforating the right ventricle ½ inch. The bullet then passed through the septum to the right to exit the lateral left ventricle through a 2-inch defect. There are approximately 500 milliliters of blood and blood clot in the right hemothorax. There are approximately 1,200 milliliters of blood and blood clot in the left hemothorax. The bullet then exited the left hemithorax through the lateral left 7th rib. There is marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. The bullet lodged at the left lateral torso, 20 inches from the top of the head. There is an overlying ½ slit-like defect. There is no fouling or stifling. The bullet is yellow metal jacketed, of medium caliber, and markedly deformed at its nose, mushroomed. C is now inscribed at its base, and the bullet is retained as evidence. Direction of this bullet travel is right to left, front to back, and downward. So you're basically seeing these bullets where they're going like up and down, right? So that's basically, you got to see the position on these officers, right? And once again, we can definitely do this. And I am planning on, this is why this is an Investigating the Shadows exclusive, because I am going to be actually taking all this information and actually showing evidence of this. It'll be season 2. Once I get that out, I got to finish season 1, and then we're going to connect everything back and bring everything full circle. This all goes for full circle for Investigating the Shadows season 1. Season 2 brings everything a lot more full circle in specific areas, so you see it's all connected. All right. Bigger picture than the smaller picture, so that way everybody gets the information. That's how this works. It's a wonderful system. All right, so gunshot wounds, torso number 5. Let's see if you guys have any. Oh, holy crap. Oh, hey, Sophia, how's it going? Holy crap, I just seen all the messages. Holy crap. Let's see. Very cool, you're painting. Very, very cool. There you go. There you go. Congratulations on that. It's always a good thing. I am not my forever home yet. I want to buy land for that one. All right, we're gonna get right back into it real quick. So I want to get through the autopsy. So I'll be back to chat in just a second. I just want to make sure I get through all this. So for gunshot wound to torso number 5, so the right upper quadrant. Gunshot entrance wound is at the interior abdominal. I cannot speak tonight. Abdominal wall, the right upper quadrant. So we're talking like upper, the top right ab is where you got shot through. That's that would hurt. 23 inches from the top of the head and 3 inches right of midline. There is no fouling or stifling. Oh, wait, did we go through number 4 yet? Holy crap, I don't think we did. I'll get to that next. Okay, I do apologize for that. There's no fouling or stifling. It is roughly circular 5/8 inch perforation with a ½ inch superolateral red rim of abrasion and approximately 1/4 inch symmetric rim of abrasion at the remaining margins. Lying just superior and lateral to this entrance wound are 4 obliquely oriented brown dried abrasions measuring the 1/6 inch. Curious what those are. That's really curious. The brown dried abrasions. I mean, he had some. Obviously, those are. He probably got some kind of like some scabbing going on from something, but curious. Is that something important? Who knows? I doubt it, but maybe. Who's to say the guy wasn't tortured for hours and hours and hours, for like weeks or a week or something like this? That could have been something could have happened with that. Who knows? Maybe he just got a hold of something to go and fight back. Who knows? I don't know what's going on here. Let's keep going. Let's see. These abrasions lay in a row measuring half-inch long, and lay 1/16 inch apart, and lay 3/4 of an inch from the aforementioned rim of abrasion edge. After penetrating the skin and soft tissues, the anterior abdominal wall, the bullet passed leftward and downward through the omentum before lodging in left lower quadrant subcutaneous tissues. There is marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. The bullet lodged in the left lower quadrant subcutaneous tissues 31.5 inches from the top of the head and 5.5 inches left of midline. Overlying this site of lodgement is a 2-inch purple contusion. Interesting. Let's get to number 4, as I think I missed that. Yeah, I definitely did. I don't remember saying punched out, so yeah. All right. And this is going to be right lateral chest. No, I did read it. Holy crap. Okay. Crazy. Hey, Mary, how's it going? Hey, Sophia. All right. Then we got... Oh, it's continued. The bullet is yellow metal jacketed of medium caliber and marked deformed at its nose. Once again, mushroomed. It's funny how they're saying, like, they'll say deformed in a lot of this, but then only one of them, which is, I believe, in number 1. I'm going to go back and take a look at this. The bullet 2, then? So one of them had a comment and said it was, Could have sworn. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's too late, right? I'm just a little tired, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Doubt it. But, all right. D is now inscribed on its base, and the bullet is retained as evidence. The direction of this bullet traveled right to left, downward, and slightly front to back. F, U, C, D. Okay, those are the letters we got here. Well, kind of. We got this as U-shaped, but I mean, why F, C, D? Curious. Gunshot wound to head. Gunshot entrance wound is within the substance. In fact, actually, hang on. I could do this, I think. Yes, I can. There we go. Perfect. Wait, can't see chat then. Oh, crap. Didn't mean for that to happen. Whoops. Oh, that's lame. Oh, no, it doesn't want to... Damn it, there we go. I'll just leave it like this so I can see. Alright, perfect. I can see when people are popping in now. You know, Cooper's is definitely an interesting one, too. Yes, we're going over Cooper's autopsy right now. Yeah, it's just it's one of these things. Like I said, you look at this one, look at David's, things don't line up right, and that's basically the big thing I really want to drive home with people that have not looked at David's case, or if they have, I want them to see these similarities. Some of these things, there's like, okay, well, they're entering kind of weird. You got the it's a really good book so far. I haven't read the whole thing all the way quite yet, so just been kind of combing through it, but calls a lot of things out. Let me tell you. All right, let's see. Okay, so gunshot entrance wound is within the substance of the right ear, 4 3/4 inch from the top of the head and 4.5 inches posterior to the anterior plane of the forehead. There is a negligible rim of abrasion. The gunshot entrance wound measures 1/2 inch within the ear and 1 inch behind the ear. A periphery of stifling is present and measures from 1.5 inches posterior to 5 inches inframedially. I cannot say this. It saved my life. After penetrating the right ear and skin behind the right ear, the bullet passed downward and leftward through the tissues of the upper right neck and basal skull. This is marked hemorrhage within the soft tissues. There's approximately 2-inch fracture of the anterior medial occipital skull. There is marked accompanying basilar subarachnoid hemorrhage. The right transverse processes of cervical vertebrae 1 and 2 are markedly. Ugh. The way this thing is worded, it sucks. Disrupted and are involved in the aforementioned hemorrhage. The bullet is recovered along the right side of the upper cervical spinal cord, 6 3/4 inch from the top of the head. The bullet is yellow metal jacketed of medium caliber and markedly deformed at its nose and side. E is now inscribed on its base, and the bullet is retained as evidence. So, oh yeah, no problem. Of course. Yeah, no, that's I've been hearing is this book. It's people on like TikTok and YouTube that have done videos about like UFOs and stuff like this. Like they didn't mention Bill Cooper. They just mentioned some papers that somebody had recovered from a Xerox or something like this. It's like, what? Who would be that foolish to leave that crap there? I mean, once again, is it real? Is it not? Is this something somebody had planted just knowing this person was going to be stopping by? Who knows? Yeah, that too. I've been catching on to that. I haven't read it specifically where he says that yet, but I've just been catching on. It definitely feels like that's kind of how he was taking things. He could have easily been fed false info and was just basically being misled. But at the same time, I mean, he did due diligence when it came to gathering information. So, a lot of the time he would be right. I mean, I can't really say he's not. But all right, let's get back into this. Direction this bullet traveled is right to left, downward, and without front to back deviation. Well, like I said, this is really great because, see, if we line this up where his body was found, and how the officers, we can actually figure out how they were positioned based on this. And if they weren't positioned that way, that means there's definitely some foul play most likely involved. Or the bullet was, or not bullet, but the body was, it could have been shot at a later time. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can go and relate into. Exactly. He's also not a fan of Alex Jones. Is very true. He actually complained about him. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he also say he was an agent of Mossad too? So, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he did. But I know that he was like, well, if I can say this stuff and I get threats, why can he say this and not get threats? It makes you kind of question too, especially as Alex Jones is far more vocal. And more blatant and right in your face with it. It's kind of curious. Why isn't he getting a death threat? I'm sure the man probably gets some death threats, I'm sure. But I find just the mere coincidences of some of these things, they don't seem too coincidental. So, alright. This is going to be the gunshot wound to right upper extremity, number 1. So this is distal right dorsal forearm. Gunshot entrance wound is at the distal dorsal right forearm, 22 inches from the top of the shoulder. It is a half-inch circular perforation with a symmetric cannot speak tonight. It's terrible. 1/8-inch rim of abrasion. There is no fouling or stifling. Once again, showing this is not long distance. I don't remember seeing that here. No fouling or stifling. I don't remember them saying that anywhere in here. So that makes this a little strange now. Especially as they've been very, very, very particular about saying no fouling or stifling. Very interesting. Yes. He called him out, and I believe he even was in a conversation at one point with him, I believe, calling him out there kind of just playfully, but I do remember him actually having a conversation with him. So, I find that strange. So why is he? And I'd have to ask the same question. Why wasn't Alex Jones taken out? Why was he? I'm not saying that let's pick and choose here, but I'm just saying why wasn't? Alex Jones is still very vocal. All they did is just quote unquote silence him, and he's been silenced. Let's be honest, but to some degree. But if they wanted to silence him, they could. Look what they did to David. They totally tarnished his name. They found all these ways to go and really just destroy the man after he died. So, and once again, look at the team they have on him right now. Really making sure that stuff doesn't come to pass, you know, to really get his information out there. But all right, so gunshot entrance wound is at the distal dorsal right forearm, 22 inches from the top of the shoulder. It's a half-inch circular perforation with a symmetric eighth-inch rim of abrasion. There's no fouling or stifling. Once again, no close range. After penetrating the skin and soft tissues of the right forearm, the bullet passed through the extremity to exit the medial right flexor forearm. There is hemorrhage along the bullet track. The exit wound is a 1 5/8 inch irregular defect with negligible rim of abrasion. There is no fouling or stifling. Once again, this is the usual thing. That, once again, it's not close range here. This exit wound lies 21 to 23 inches from the top of the shoulder. All right. And then we got gunshot wound to right upper extremity, number 1. This is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got one more bullet, technically speaking, based on this. All right, so gunshot wound to right upper extremity, number 1, distal right dorsal forearm. It's continued, of course. No bullet is recovered. The direction of this bullet is traveled is right to left, back to front, and without vertical deviation. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's. I think this is directly why he avoided relationships after a certain point. It's like I've heard. I can't confirm anything, obviously, but this is just more or less hearsay, right? That he had relationships for a while, but after a while, he stopped. Yeah, basically. So, I want to say it was either his front yard or was in his front room. But it was the whole thing that he was essentially avoiding relationships, because then he doesn't have to say, the same thing I said even at the beginning of the show. I'm not suicidal. I'm not homicidal towards my family or friends, nor anybody else. My family is not homicidal or suicidal. Or like that towards anybody else, yada yada yada, that whole spiel, right? Yeah, he was very, very big on his rights, all this, but he made sure that he distanced himself. Look how close he was with his family. I mean, he was basically a hermit. He kept to himself. He had a dog, so he can keep his sanity, right? Did everything he could. So if anything happened to him, it had to be that type of extreme, right? This is why this is so important, and people need to be paying attention to this, because David Crowley is the opposite of this, right? He didn't have the no trespassing. He didn't have any of that, but he was like, look, I wouldn't kill myself. I wouldn't kill my family. Family doesn't want to kill me, yada yada, the same thing. And look what happened to him. They took his family out too. That's the whole point why he's saying, you look into this stuff, try to keep your family as far away from it as possible. So I take all my precautions. Obviously wanted to go and make sure I don't want to fight. I've got things in my house, so in case anything does anybody tries to enter my home, I don't want them here, and I tell them to leave, and they don't want to leave, I can get rid of them. I'll just put it that way. So, I'm not going to explain what, because, well, who knows if there's a Fed in here or not. We don't know. And this is just me taking precautions. Probably seem a little paranoid, but that's besides the point. So, but that's why I take all these precautions. And it's the same reason why Bill Cooper does. I studied all these different precautions all these guys took. Same reason I'm taking these. Before I even looked at this case, I needed to find out, how do I keep myself safe on this? When looking at this stuff, when you're exposing this type of information, how do you keep yourself safe? But, alright, let's continue. So, yeah, I plan on it. This one will be up before the next Murder of the Gray State for sure. Needs to get out there. This information needs to be out there. So, and I am planning on doing an actual season 2 episode when I do investigating the shadows. This will be in season 2 once again. So, if anybody's interested in that, it'll be more in depth. It'll be kind of like the David Crowley case. I've actually got a crime scene replication based on the actual crime scene drawing and what we know, recreated both, and kind of put something together to show. So based on that crime scene, this is what this would look like, based on everything they're saying, and this is what it actually does look like. I'll get to that in a second, because I haven't even got to the other characters yet. So, yeah, exactly. You got to keep yourself safe no matter what room you're in. You got to be able to keep your family safe, yada, yada, yada. Same reason why we've got precautions for everything, I've got locations if something happens. This is where I'm going. I don't give that information to anybody either, but... Oh, yeah. Yeah, wait till you see it. You're going to be like, holy shit. All right. Let's see. I think we're on this one right here. So this is where we're getting to the grays. Let's see how much do we have on this. Okay, perfect. We're almost done with just the wounds. So here's a gunshot wound. It's a graze to upper right extremity number 2, dorsal right hand. Graze wound is at the dorsal right hand, extending obliquely from the base of the hand to the right thumb region. Ouch. That would not feel good at all. None of these would, of course, but 24 to 26 inches from the top of the shoulder. It is a 2 3/8 inch long with a 1/4 inch medial rim of abrasion. There is a negligible rim of abrasion at the remaining margin. No fouling or stifling. Once again, this is a long range shot. Yeah. Speaking on that, I still need to get to that again. I got a lot of projects. I hate that I have so many projects right now. Seriously, like 4 videos behind, and then I've got it's 6 videos behind now. This sucks. Not including all the Murder of the Gray State videos I still have to go and finish getting uploaded to YouTube. So, so many things to do. So no time either. Must be unemployed again. Bad joke. Let's see. There is marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. There is no underlying vital injury. No bullet is recovered. That means it's just the crime scene, essentially. They didn't grab it. The direction this bullet traveled is left to right, downward, and without front to back deviation. This, keep in mind also, Mary brought up a very good point. This very well could have been in the front yard. I don't remember if it was front yard or if it was front room, but there was a shootout. So, but yeah. So if this was in this front yard, then this is just basically, this is going in the front yard, where, probably went right in pretty quickly, pretty far. But, God, get dry mouth again. All right, gunshot wound to right lower extremity. This is right shin. Ouch, that's painful. Gunshot entrance wound is at the interior right shin, 54 inches from the top of the head. It is a 3/8 inch circular perforation, a 1/4 inch symmetric rim of abrasion. There's no fouling or stifling. Once again, long range. After penetrating the skin and soft tissues of the right shin, the bullet passed upward right through the soft tissues of the right lower leg and right thigh before lodging in the soft tissues of the right quadriceps muscle. Wait, shin, thigh, what? I think there needs to be some kind of a timeline for this. As obviously they made it very clear there was no timeline on when these all happened. So there's marked hemorrhage along the bullet track. A bullet lodged within the belly of the right quadriceps muscle. 50 inches from the top of the head. Bullet is yellow metal jacketed of medium caliber and is markedly deformed at its nose. A is now inscribed on its base, and the bullet is retained as evidence. The direction this bullet travels upward, slightly right to left and front to back. Yes. Yeah, it's especially just one guy, he clearly he had a holster, so we know that he had his weapon on him. But it's the fact that, this is a guy that most likely would have been like, hey, look, I'm armed. What are you guys doing kind of thing? Back off. If he felt threatened, once again, he would have started firing, So, but yeah, it's very, very odd. So, all right, now we're going to get into blunt impact to head, neck, and right upper extremity. Oof. There's an irregular half-inch C-shaped red abrasion at the right side of the forehead. There is an irregular half-inch red abrasion at the medial aspect of the right elbow. There's a 2 by 1 inch cluster of non-specific red abrasions measuring up to a quarter inch at the base of the right side of the neck. There's a quarter inch red abrasion at the lateral right flexor wrist. This seems... These injuries having been described will not be repeated. What? See, this right here, this blunt impact stuff, this is making me seem like quarter inch red abrasion. I have to get a hold of some handcuffs and actually see the actual dimensions on it, but it looks like it might have had his handcuffed to something or somebody. So, oh, they definitely did. Like I said, this is a big thing with all these guys, and I'll get into it later, but if you look at what he's talking about, he's exposing things and like literally came out with truth and bluntly described this was going to happen, and then it happens. So they don't like that. They don't like that because it was getting people kind of curious about things. Well, how do you know this is going to happen? Bam, happens. Oh crap, okay. And this is going to happen. Oh, come on, you're not going to be right more than once. Boom, happens. Oh, holy crap, what? You know, that's the whole thing. And just people are like, my God, this guy's been right about all this so far. Okay, there's 2 things. Let's go through. Oh my God, 3rd, 4th, 5th. He just keeps going. He's exposing things, but in a way that wakes people up, right? He got a book out there, so he's getting things so they're in solid print. There's something people can literally pick up and hold. They can feel. They can read it. You know, this is scary to these people. So. So now we can look at the internal stuff here. So head, we got the brain. It's 1460 grams and has an unremarkable distribution of cerebral, God, I can't speak, vessels and cranial nerves, gray and white matter, deep nuclei, and ventricles are unremarkable. The meninges, yeah, okay, I think I can say it right, are thin and delicate. There is no epidural or subdural hemorrhage. Neck organs, hyoid bone. Okay, this is the one thing, I know I probably said that really funny, so I do apologize. I sound like I'm from like Minnesota, but sorry. But the hyoid bone is that's the one you guys want to pay attention to when it comes down to, like, for instance, somebody's being strangled to death. And so I want to make this very clear. They're basically saying these things right here are unremarkable. The hyoid bone and the tracheal and laryngeal cartilages are unremarkable, which means he was not choked out. Right? Somebody was not strangling him or using a garrote or anything like that. So, body cavities. The gallbladder is not identified. Cardiovascular system. The aorta is without atherosclerosis. The venae cavae and pulmonary arteries are without thrombus or embolus. The heart weighs 560 grams and has an unremarkable distribution of right dominant coronary vessels with minimal, with a less than 25% occlusion. Non-calcified atherosclerosis of the proximal left anterior descending coronary artery. The remaining coronary arteries are without luminal compromise, and the myocardium is diffusely red-brown without softening, pallor, or fibrosis. Left ventricle is 1.4 centimeters thick. Endocardial surfaces and 4 cardiac valves are unremarkable. Basically saying nothing's really, truly, really all that remarkable here. There's a few things they point out that are a little more remarkable, but not really all that much. Respiratory system, right lung weighs 500 grams, left lung weighs 570. Both lungs are dark red without consolidation, cavitation, or hemorrhage. There are no mass lesions. The bronchial vasculature and architecture are unremarkable. This is basically saying, yeah, his lungs were not punctured. So they're dark red. So they're overall rather healthy. No, definitely the cops there over in Arizona. Yeah, just regular cops. Curious who they are. Oh, I'll get to that eventually. Don't worry. I do want to actually go and get an interview with at least a few of them if I can. But I gotta see if they're retired or not, because if they're retired, that's when things get interesting. Road trip, guys. All right, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Liver weighs 2,280 grams. Has an orange brown. Yeah, okay. That doesn't sound right at all. That sounds really gross, but okay. Slippery cut surface with slightly fibrous texture. The gallbladder is not identified. Pancreas is of normal lobulation, color, and texture. I think right here they're basically saying this might be of concern with the liver. A little slight concern here. Once again, what affects the liver, right? This could have just been diet. So, but could have been other things. Who knows? Hemic and lymphatic systems. The spleen weighs 300 grams, has an intact smooth capsule and a dark red parenchyma without prominent white pulp. There are no lymph node enlargements. Genitourinary system. Right kidney weighs 200 grams, left 210. Both kidneys have smooth subcapsular surfaces with an unremarkable underlying architecture vasculature. Both ureters are ureters, normal caliber, and drain into an unremarkable okay, so long story short, I'm just going to go and just kind of go through this real quick. Nothing. Right? He was healthy. Overall, healthy. He died of gunshot wounds. Basically all this saying here. One thing, though, is let's not just go and rule it at, oh, well, he just died of gunshot wounds. This whole blunt impact area, right here, this is the part to pay very, very, very close attention to. Okay, right, so you got this C-shaped red abrasion, right side of the forehead. Could that be, oh, I don't know, the heel of a boot? Excuse me. Yes, so don't worry. There's a lot. Are you heading out, Sophia? And there's a lot of different cases. Like I said, we're covering, let's see, one, Cooper. Have a good night, Sophia. We'll see you hopefully next time. I should be back on this Saturday. We're going to be covering whatever else we don't cover in this, plus some more. That's my plan. Let's see, we got Cooper, we got Spiers, Lang, McAfee, and Crowley. So we got at least 5 guys there we're looking at. I mean, we can throw Epstein in there kind of. Sees that connection to Kappy, but we've already done that episode, so. But yeah, we have a few of them here, and we're gonna, like I said, this ties back, and it goes back really far. When people start exposing these people, this is the kind of thing that happens. All right, so once again, I do have it up here if you guys do want to go and check it out. They do have it on archive.org, and you can check it out that way. It's, once again, just the Wayback Machine. So you can see everything he talks about. And just want to mention this really quick. You guys can't see that. It says, "Hello, New World Order." These are things he's talking about here. These are things that he was exposing. Connection to Satanic Church, UFOs, alien implants, AIDS. Oh, who's connected to AIDS? Oh, hello, Fauci. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Oh, who do we got attached to that? Oh, there's Israel. U.S. Army intelligence connection to Satanic Church. Yeah, that's quite the rabbit hole. You got the House Resolution Bill 4079 and FEMA, which basically that's don't even get me started on FEMA and the connection to all these different House bills. Pretty messed up. Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988, the Sheep Raid to Shear, Not Even Alliance, Lessons for... Yeah, I mean, he's got some deep stuff here, pay attention to shapes and some of these things he's gotten here. A lot of things. He left a lot of messages in these for people to pick up on. So, yeah, Kappy. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when people start to expose too much, they have to be dealt with. Notice the other person who said that too, that ended up missing. Well, suicided. Kappy said the same things I did. Except he was alone. I'm not. So, once again, anything happens to me, please, for the love of God, investigate. If it says I died in a car accident, don't believe it for a second. Just look into it, please. I don't care what happens. Look into it. Who knows? Who knows? I'm pretty confident nothing's going to happen because, well, little old me, but that's why you think I went to Twitch. Why do you think I went to all these other areas? So I can spread the word as much as possible. Oh, damn deep state, you dumb sons of bitches. But we're going to get into the rest of the guys here. So, as I know Greg is very eager to find out what these all have in common. I'm sure he probably already knows. I'm pretty sure most of you guys already do. So we had one guy, he exposed the New World Order for who they are, right? What they were planning on doing, was able to predict what they were going to do. And he wasn't predicting because, he's some kind of a seer or an oracle or some kind of a psychic. No. He read and he heard and he saw things. He was able to see these things. Why? Because they were blatantly obvious. Because these assholes they're not exactly. I mean, they're smart. They know what they're doing, but that's also because they've dumbed us down. So that's where this comes from. They dumbed us. They dumbed the American public down, the world public. Just the public world. It's all just dumbed down. They don't want us to learn, their inner workings. Why? Because look at our forefathers. Yeah, we had some Freemasons that started our damn country. And I don't trust Freemasons at all, and I don't even believe that our forefathers' intentions were all the greatest either. No, don't get me wrong. I still love America. I still love George Washington, to some degree, and I love, I love a lot of some of these U.S. presidents like that. But I'm very, very suspicious when I see, they're Freemasons. I don't trust Freemasons, flat out. I do not trust a damn Freemason to save my life. I also don't believe them. I don't believe them at all when they tell me they're Christian. I'm just like, you satanic son of a bitch. But I digress. So what do you got here? Now we got Max Spiers. You guys heard about Max Spiers at all? You guys know who he is? How he died? Any of the details about it? Alright, well, I'll tell you guys anyways. Obviously, kind of have to for those that don't know, and for those that do know, well, regardless, you guys are stuck with information here. So, Max Spiers, they label him as a conspiracy theorist. Is he a was he a conspiracy theorist? No. His big topic of choice was the UFOs and paranormal activity, things like that, right? Not a conspiracy theorist. I want to label that right now. But he got a hold of some information, started looking around, digging, and he came with this whole concept of wait, the Fourth Reich. Where have we heard that before? You're going to like this, Greg. You're going to love this. This connects to our boy, David. This guy right here connects to David. Okay, now you see, he died after. But if you look at what he was talking about, if you look at the Fourth Reich, that whole concept, it's directly what David showed over in his initial gray state. Right? We had this is the New World Order. Well, but he talked about, there's more about the Nazis in his belief than it was in David's, right? There's the difference. But end of the day, I believe there was a totalitarianistic kind of oligarchy that was coming into power slowly but surely, and it was basically getting its tentacles just like, we see it in some of these Marvel movies. Just throwing it out there. Maybe no connection, but I'm saying BS on that one. Because, like I said, they like to tell us what they're doing. They're getting their hands on everything. Why? Like a giant damn octopus. And what do we see as a giant damn octopus? Marvel, you see Hydra. It's the same thing. Marvel was bought up. So, exactly. We know how the Nazis were with that cult. We got Operation Paperclip. Bam. We got this Fourth Reich here now. They've got all that stuff coming up too. No mere coincidence. what did we see with the Gray State? Same thing. You had this, what's his name? Nikasi. Simeon Nikasi. His people, he worked directly with the Nazis. He was one of those people that was, not necessarily brought in with Operation Paperclip, but the way it sounded, he double-dipped. And essentially, well, he dealt with that cult, and... Sorry, it was Abner, then Simeon, I believe. Or Simeon, then Abner. One of the other. It was one of those, but regardless. And yeah, that's where you get that cult and all this. Well, Fourth Reich believes a lot of the same crap. But the weird thing about Max Spiers here is that when they found him, he had some black goo. He had apparently vomited some black goo right before his death. They basically said that he had died of an overdose. I believe it was Xanax, I want to say that they tried to say. I could be mistaken on that. But yeah, you can see the title of this video. Holy shit. Fourth Reich, Dulce and the Moon Soul and Catching Machine. And the Dulce and the Moon Soul Catching Machine. Yeah, this right here, this part, makes me think of Scientology, but... I digress. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, we know that a lot of them did. I mean, a lot of these guys did. You had the Nazi scientists that moved just directly from, and then you had the Nazis themselves who went to Argentina with Hitler and all this. Made a life there, but I'm sure they moved. A lot of them moved right back up in the U.S., got into power. Slowly but surely, and not because they were trying to, it's because we already knew they were there. JFK knew. That was a big deal with that. He had a huge problem with that. And what did we get with that? Operation Northwoods, and soon after, JFK assassination. Is it a mere coincidence that we also got the Bushes that are connected to Nazi gold, and bam, lo and behold, a Nazi connection to the U.S. government. Just saying. And I'm not trying to talk down anybody or anything. I'm not trying to be a fool or anything, but I'm just, that's how I talk normally. Just these connections. It's just these little, mind-blowing things. It's like, holy crap. So, once again, if you guys ever feel like I'm talking down, let me know. I will change my tone a bit if I have to. It's not a big deal. So, I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable, especially me talking about this kind of stuff. But yeah. There was Nazi connection directly to the U.S. government at the time. We had the Bushes. Goes all the way back to early 1900s. Don't even get me started on the Bushes lineage as that goes. That's another rabbit hole. Bushes, I want to say the Washington family. There's a few others, but bloodlines go back to the royal family over in Europe. There's a rabbit hole on just that alone. That's nuts. But yeah, there's a ton of things that this goes into, but this all connects to this, and that's the thing. So, yeah, he absolutely knew what was going on here. Even then, I still believe JFK Jr. I still believe he knew. I think that's why they had to take him out, because the minute he would have gotten in the government, he would have started flipping things left and right, getting things pushed right on out, getting the public to know. Because he needed confirmation and evidence. That's all he needed, who has that? Government. Governments like to go and keep paper trails. Stupid sons of bitches. But that's okay. Hopefully you got guys like Cawthorn and Bobert that'll eventually start flipping that stuff out. I'm not holding my breath, but hey, I'm hoping. But if something happens to them because you start seeing them talking like that, Bobert, don't get me wrong, I would not put it past that lady. Her and, what's her name? Really, really, very, very loud about, she was very, very loud about Q as well. I don't remember what her name is, but, really awesome lady. I follow her on Twitter. She's terrible. I don't know her name, but besides the point. This all goes back to that. Do I think David necessarily knew about any of this kind of stuff? JFK and all this? I think he had suspicions. I don't know if he absolutely knew. Like I said, I think David's knowledge about the New World Order was kind of limited. When I say kind of limited, I mean very, very limited. Honestly, I think anybody that studied the New World Order for more than a year would probably know at least as much, if not more, than David. As David was more kind of militaristic and, but he was more kind of, trying to go and ground himself, trying to really get into the film industry. So, I think he was a little more focused on trying to avoid being killed. and not trying, to really get himself exposed too much. But I think he kind of discovered a little too late that he was surrounded by sharks instead of, fellow, patriots. As we know that We Are Change was infiltrated, we know that, quite a few of these other organizations were infiltrated, Proud Boys and all this. We know they were infiltrated. Why? Because it's been coming out for months and months and months, over, in a lot of cases, even years. So, but this guy was apparently over in Poland. He was doing a convention, and he was staying for like a few weeks or whatever at his friend's house, but I'm pretty sure it was like his lover, or I don't know, but somebody was female friends of his. There was more on that detail later. I'm just not going to get into it too much, but he was in Poland, and he was at this convention. He was attending that and speaking. And it was about UFOs and things like this. This guy goes in depth when it comes to the extraterrestrials and paranormal community. So, highly suggest, if you guys haven't checked him out, definitely check him out. He's got some good information about that stuff. He's dead now, obviously, so had good information, I should say. But but no, even his mom wants his death investigated. The UK has been criticized for not investigating his death further. Poland wrapped this up real quick. So, but yeah, last I checked, no drug is going to make you vomit up black goo. That's not a thing. So, but yeah, right before his death, he vomited up some black goo. Like, literally right before he died, so. Yeah. And just to kind of show off a little more. And even their coroner attacks the incompetent police. I love that. I just love that. I'm going to read this line just because it's so great. And this is what I really wish would have happened with David's case. Polish police officers were wholly incompetent in their response to the death of British conspiracy theorist. He's not a conspiracy theorist. The coroner had said as he conducted the man died after taking prescription drugs while suffering from pneumonia. Well, that doesn't explain the black goo. So he's wrong too, but I love the fact that his coroner is just like, oh, you guys are stupid. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love it when that kind of thing happens. So, pretty great. But, yeah. And then John Lang, of course. We got John Lang here. Yeah, multiple stab wounds to the chest. Is everybody familiar with John Lang? I'm pretty sure. I know Greg is, at least to some degree. But yeah, John Lang was basically stabbed multiple times in the chest. House is on fire, and he apparently died of inhalation of smoke and soot due to fire. But the stab wounds, that couldn't have been it, right? No. So, but he was a former Marine, and he was being watched by the police. He was going after the Fresno Police Department for police corruption. I don't remember what the police corruption was exactly, but it was pretty big, and he was exposing the crap out of it, and he's literally got him on footage. You can go on his YouTube channel. You can go and see the videos online and see very, very obvious they were watching him. Those officers should have been arrested. Honestly. But once again, because they weren't, that shows police corruption. As far as I'm concerned, it's directly how that kind of lines up. But he was exposing things. Exposing the U.S. government, right? Exposing at least local government. So is he wholly connected right off the bat to David Crowley? No. Not directly. He wasn't exposing the New World Order. You can see where I'm going with this, so... So, if you guys want any of these, also let me know. I can get these to you guys as well. Next time what we have is John McAfee. My boy here. So, with John McAfee, we have him. He was like, yeah. I was literally attacked in my home. I don't know if you guys knew all this about John McAfee, but he was like literally, they came into his home and they physically abused him, is how he claimed it. He went on the run and all this. He was actually a libertarian candidate for U.S. president at one point. as well. I believe it was during Donald Trump's run, so like 2016, I believe. But they tried to say all sorts of things about him. Was this guy a partier? Yeah, to some degree. He's an older guy. But yeah, he basically sent some laptops to the U.S. government after they raided his home and all this, and hooked him up with some laptops, but he loaded him up with viruses, little Trojan spywares, things like that, so he could watch them and find out their details. And sure enough, he did. And he even says this on an interview. He's like, "Yeah, I found out some really deep things." He's like, "Yeah, I just wanted to find out why they went after me." And he's like, "But I found out all sorts of things about human sex trafficking." Ooh, big time. Like things like, I think it was Venezuela. Ironic, right? Because we got Venezuela that apparently we were in their airspace recently. That's kind of fascinating. Apparently they were like, the Venezuelans were like, "What the hell are you doing here?" But yeah, really, really crazy stuff like that is going on. And so he was trying to expose all this kind of stuff, and he had uncovered a ton of information. But keep this in mind, his big thing everybody went after him for is he's apparently adjusting. Oh, sorry about that. He was apparently tweaking, or not tweaking, but in a way kind of adjusting the prices of Bitcoin and other kind of not e-currencies, but cryptocurrencies. Well, he wasn't. He got involved with some of them because he was interested in it. Nothing wrong with that, right? And we see worse from Pelosi and her family. We see worse from Elon Musk, who can literally raise and lower his stock and any stock that may be connected to his in any way, shape, or form. Just with a simple tweet. Oh, my stock prices are too high. Let's lower them. Drastically lowers them. Screws with the stock market right out there. But nothing happens to him. John McAfee, the man screwed with the U.S. government is what happened. They didn't like that. He just wanted to know the truth. He wanted to know what happened to him. Why was he being targeted? Well, now they killed him. Yeah, they killed him. They got rid of him. Right when he was on going to be extradited, I believe that day. And his wife and his lawyer both want his death investigated thoroughly because he was apparently hung. He hung himself, allegedly, in his cell. Man wasn't suicidal. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he also said the same thing as I did. He made so many friends in that prison. He was literally making life better for some of those people. As far as we know, no enemies. Overall, pretty good man, right? Not entirely, but I'm sure he had his downfalls. But for the most part, he had some good man qualities, right? Good person qualities, I should say. So, but he was exposing parts of the New World Order. And then we see this. About to topple the deep state. That's his downfall. That was right there was his downfall. Because by calling them by their new name that they go by, the deep state, he's saying, I'm going after the New World Order. Illuminati, the Oculus, the Cult of Saturn, Order of the Black Sun. I can keep going. They have many different names, different parts, little sects of them. End of the day, they still all worship the almighty Saturn. Oh, how foolish, how foolish. But I digress. Them and the little horn god took him out. Right? That's what's going on here. So how does this connect directly to David? Well, as most of you guys know, David, he didn't kill his family, didn't kill himself. A lot of things we can already say. Once again, these three things will already show his innocence. At least not his innocence, but he's not guilty. Okay? Put it that way. I believe it firmly shows his innocence. Bullet trajectory doesn't add up. Blood, where is it? Doesn't add up. And I still don't believe that dog, ate all that, much of all of them. Okay. And then there's, of course, the blood spatter. Nobody had called. Gun wasn't silenced. Therefore, it would have been loud. There's no pillows or anything else like this. There's nothing there to muffle the noise of that gun that was allegedly used. Position of the bodies. I can keep going. There's more. There's more. Way more. They can prove David didn't do this. What was he exposing with the gray state? Why do you switch it? Was it really because he felt it wasn't going to sell? I don't think entirely, but I think a good portion of it was that reason. But he wanted to sell a movie. But he was exposing too much to the deep state. And you could also see in the very first script, when we covered that it sounds like multiple people were having their hand at writing it. And then when he starts to go and move away from those other people being involved with it, without their knowledge, because, well, they're not intelligent people. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't have taken much to really, any more than 2 brain cells to see that he was letting moved away from, so. No. Is it possible? I mean, it is possible, technically, I would say, but I don't think so. Because animals also don't like to eat rotten food. They don't. Especially because, well, what do you have right there? What did Paleo have in his in the kitchen? That little kitchen backroom area. There's a bag of dog food. I believe it was 2 bags of dog food, if I'm not mistaken. It's 1 or 2 bags of dog food, though. Could have ripped it open. And dogs do. They will rip that stuff open. They smell it. They've got access to it, and there's nobody to feed them. They'll rip right into it. They don't care. Right. Oh, we mentioned Cullen, then we know that Judy's coming. Ooh. Oh no, the Proch knows. Oh, that's hilarious. She who will not be named. But no, I mean, it's also, that case is really strange because you've got people that you could find that, well, or were attached to government agencies or are still even attached to government agencies getting away with near Hunter Biden level crimes. Not saying anything there, Eric, but just saying. You work for the NSA or some other government agency and you get away with basically walk away handily, right? Yeah, that's insane. It's absolutely insane. So, this is what I firmly believe. That's true. See, 2 bags, and one's open. That's the crazy part. See right there, 2 bags and one's open. Dog would have smelled the damn food. Let's be honest. And this is where I firmly believe this connection is. I do believe there's firmly something here, and like I said, I believe that there is. Not just them. I mean, there's regular average people that just literally, they're like, no, I gotta expose this. This isn't right. They go talk to a journalist about it and they say too much. And maybe they got more information they could leak without even knowing they're leaking any information. Still, government agencies, so. I might even say that's even worse. But my point being is, all these guys had the one thing in common. They were exposing the U.S. government for some really, really big crap they were pulling. John Lang was minor, but look at that. He was minor in comparison to what these other guys were exposing. Did David have anybody who was leaking information to him? I don't think so. He might have had some, but I mean, then I have questions because his government source, was it Danny August Mason? Mr. Freemason himself. Well, exactly. But my point here is these guys were all killed because what were they going against? They're going against the U.S. government. That's what they were doing. John Lang being the minor one, which isn't fully really super well connected to this, but still, he opposed the government. I don't care. He's a military, he's a former military. I think it was Department of Defense at one point. I think it might have just been DHS the whole time. Greg would definitely have that answer. Greg or Sophia would for sure. The minute we get Dan on here too, then I'm sure he could answer. Catherine could answer. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe yes. I believe he was a part of the DoD or he's part of GHS the whole time. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe the DoD was quote unquote involved. Like there's somebody involved. The DoD was involved in this case. Unofficially. Because the minute they say officially involved, then it's like, it gets a little bit wonky. The case kind of gets a little, the FOIA has become harder to go and really deal with, from what I understood. So, they still work, but it's a little different. So then you're dealing with multiple different agencies, and then they've got certain things they're going to redact versus like regular police officers, not police officers, but police department. Or county, or city, or whatever, that are going to redact things. So, but like I said, when we get into this, though, this is what we find: people that are going after the deep state, or the new world order, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. They go after these guys. They literally are planning to expose them. Now, David was more kind of nonchalant, like he's like, "Look, I just want people to be aware, know what's going on, but I want to tell this story." The story about if this happened, my fictional version of myself, how they would handle it. I mean, let's be honest. That's directly what that script was. It was. That's even worse. FEMA. Oh God. Oh man. That guy would have hated David. I can almost guarantee you he would have hated David. Just because, I mean, if he worked with FEMA, then yeah, that's even more reason to hate David, because, well, look what was being exposed in the Gray State. Or the Gray State, it's... Yeah, he clearly goes, no. FEMA, they're here. Yeah, he was probably one of the people going door to door, taking the guns, I'm sure. Hopefully you guys have seen those videos of gun seizures during that time. That was absolutely insane. Like the little old lady that was literally attacked in her home for not giving up her gun. They just came in. Nope, we're taking it anyways. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. But this is what I think went on. I think these guys got too close to reaching too many people. I think these people were watched very, very closely. I think this is why Danny August Mason was also put in David's way. I believe this is why Mason Hendricks was put in David's way. Exactly. I mean, if you look at their whole organization, for instance, the very first one, when they're in Minneapolis, and do you remember when Daniel Nicasi was being taken in by Dragon, and you had John Waynick and his group came in, and they basically were able to flash bomb or something out of those guys, and then get Daniel Nicasi out of there. If you look at that entire setup, that was a FEMA setup. That entire thing was. So, I mean, it's like I said, you gotta go and basically just go and look at how FEMA sets things up in any given natural disaster, or any kind of just disaster in general, and this is how they basically will go accordingly. They'll gather the perimeter, they'll make sure there's soldiers there, or armed security. If they have to escort people in, they'll escort people in. But they keep a perimeter, very, very solid perimeter. So, but that's directly what was going on. And that's what I believe is going on here, is people getting too close. So, but yes, that's basically what I'm getting at here. Is there's a lot connected here, and the thing is, these guys are just going after this collective known as the Deep State, right? But what about those people that go after the little cults that are part of it? I mean, they all of them worship similar gods, right? Quote unquote gods. You got Pan, the Greek deity, little rapist guy, little rapey little goat man. If anybody's not familiar with what a satyr is, think Hercules, the animated series, little goat man. And of course, you got the Satanists. What do they worship? Well, Baphomet. Well, what is that? Same thing as Pan, except the difference is they worship what they call, like, I'm trying to what the exact terminology is it they call it, but it's called the Unity, the Holy Unity, which is male and female combinations. It's a hermaphrodite god, which once again Baphomet, which a lot of people believe is what Satan is, Lucifer is. But what about those people that go and they raise their voice up against these cults? They're all part of this group too. What about those people that are trying to expose the hunt that goes on? You know, the one where the rich people hunt people they get trafficked in. Or people that were prisoners. They hunt them. Nobody believes me on that, then exactly. Peter Pan, same thing. Pan is right there. It's this all goes back with lore. You know, look at the history or the lore behind the Pied Piper, right? You know, he cleaned up the town of Hamlin, which is a real town, which was apparently full of rats. Well, what do they refer to as rats? Children. Street children. The homeless. Why is there such a rampant population of homeless now in the United States? And why do some of them... There's some in Portland even that I've personally spoken to when I was doing homeless outreach. And they've even come out and said, yeah, there's people, like, they couldn't find their friends or family, and that got me really started on this path. Where are all these homeless people going? Why are some of these states... Exactly. Dick Pan. We'll just refer to him as Dick Pan. Johnson. Schlong. Sorry. I have a little fun when I hear the term phallic. I'm like, oh, I gotta have fun with that. All right, let's not like that either. That's just weird. But yeah. Besides the point, I digress. It's homeless people have been going missing for years. Where are all these trafficking victims? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from good homes? No, coming from our... Yeah, it all comes back to the same thing. And these people are trying to expose this. They're trying to expose little bits of it. Just part of it. So I'm saying, with me, I don't want to just expose a little bit. I want to expose the whole damn thing. I know I'm risking it. I know I am. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I got fail-safes for everything. If I feel like anything's coming my way at all, I got fail-safes for my family, so they'll get away safe. So, but yeah, like I said, it all comes down to this whole thing of how do we trap them? I wish my, one of my local feds would, come forward and talk to me about what his plan is. I joke, of course, but I know that's never going to happen. But that would be kind of funny. Let's share notes. Let's compare ideas here. What are you planning on doing to me? What am I planning on getting out of this? So I can get away scot-free away from you. Play a game of chess, pal. But yeah, that's basically what this comes down to. And this is me trying to be cocky, I promise. But it's just all jokes aside. That's what I'm trying to expose. That's why I want to get out there, and that's why I think these guys are trying to expose little bits. And by exposing just the little bit that they did, and especially with the ironic timing of it, what was David exposing? Agenda 2020, or Agenda 2012, and 2021, and Agenda 2030. Which, if you look at it, it's also Operation Jaded Home, which is also mixed in there. Once again, gotta ask yourself, why wasn't Alex Jones taken out? Because he'd be a little more high profile? Maybe. He's got a family too. But he's also lied about a lot of his past as well. I would gladly have a debate with the man. I think I could probably out-debate the man by now, so... As like I said, I've never heard him, not once have I heard him speak about the homeless going in and missing. Or going... I've heard him talk about the orphanages and kids in the system and everything, but I've never heard him ever speak about homeless people going missing. So I'd love to have a debate against him. That would be a fantastic debate. I'd love to run circles around Alex Jones. That'd be fantastic, but who knows, maybe he'd be able to run circles around me. I doubt it, but maybe. But yeah, it's... That's what I think this is about. I think they got a little too close to exposing some things. John McAfee, once again, wanted to expose the deep state for basically where they're... The cryptocurrency. He found the loop... He found their little, not to say a loophole, but he found their little weakness in the cryptocurrency, and he was going to expose it. Then you got David. I think it was more unwittingly or unknowingly, was exposing something much bigger than he really realized, and because it would have been a Hollywood production, that's what got him killed, potentially. He was getting way too close, like I said, because he was trying to push this as a film, regardless, indie or mainstream. Regardless. I think that has something to do with this. But he was exposing those agendas. He was exposing the cult side of things. He moved away from the cult thinking that's what it was, and that's basically, like, he's like, ah, crap. That wasn't what I was, that's not the big problem here. I was exposing too much. You got William Cooper, Bill Cooper. He exposed it all. He was calling it before it happened. They can't have that. That makes them look like idiots. Well, that's because they are, but to some degree, but yeah, I digress. Then you got Max Spiers talking about the Fourth Reich, same thing, exposing the same thing David was, except he knows what he was exposing. He knew. He was exposing the extraterrestrials and paranormal activity and things like this. He was exposing things about that. Can't have him doing that, all that at the same time. John Lang, can't have him exposing, government agencies like this of police corruption. I'm sure there was probably something there there was something probably tied with the homeless. I'm sure. Just it feels like there was something tied with human trafficking there. That's why he was canned. That's why they got rid of him. I feel like there was something. I can't put my finger on it entirely, but I do feel there was something there for that. But, and then, like I said, that all ties to David Crowley. They were exposing too much. Exposing the weaknesses in their plan. You can't have that. Not in this. They're playing very, very close to the chest, and they know it. And so when somebody starts exposing too much and getting too much attention for it, they got to get rid of them. So, all right, but that is it for tonight. We'll be back, like I said, next Saturday. There might be a stream midweek. It'll be Fallout 76 if I do. I'm going to try and get a hold of a mic this week for my phone so I can start getting those TikTok videos out there. I've got literally like 13, 14 things planned in specific order that makes sense. So, thank you for following now, British Nagball. Totally appreciate that. But yeah, this is it's going to get even juicier next week as I'm going to be digging up this week more about people that are more or less unnamed. I don't want to say unnamed because there's a name out there for them, but the little known people that have really got any attention when it came to all this. So we're looking at people that are like, for instance, they're exposing some of this stuff and didn't realize how much they were. Yes. David's story and script, they did, yes. I believe it was Iraq. And that's where I believe they got the Red Book, if I'm not mistaken. But they also collected all sorts of little like totems and things like that, so. Yeah, there's like I said, his script has got a ton of stuff in there that I don't think he realized he should have just fully taken everything out. And if he was just really just trying to go get his movie out there, he should have went a different route. That script was very clearly going to get him killed. It was. If you did it, like there's a reason why they're saying, why don't you get Oliver Stone in the story on that movie? If Oliver Stone got involved in that movie, well, even if we were to get him convinced to get on that story and somehow he was able to get those rights, Hollywood wouldn't let that one out. Too big of a bag of worms on that. They would not let it out. I mean, look at, for instance, why are Christian movies, like, for instance, Left Behind, why are they not more mainstream? Well, we got a mainstream one, but that was very, very B-movie-er like, you know. And that talks about the rapture. Why are they always pushed off to the side? It's because anything relating to Christianity and all this is basically pushed aside. So, thank you for tuning in, though, guys. I do appreciate it. And thank you. Have a good night as well, Mary. But yeah, like I said, we'll be back next Saturday. Same time, same place, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If it does end up being earlier, I'll let you guys know. That just depends on my kids and them going to bed or not. So, yeah, kids. But we'll be back then, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you can follow over on or jumping